check the tank, see if it's dry enough. It looks good from the eye, but I'm gonna take the moisture tester. We're gonna find out what exactly is going on back there. A couple of tests. First thing, stick your arm in the pile. If it's hot, humid, tacky, probably wet. Second thing, taste it. Chew it, I should say. That's hard. Third thing, look for green berries. Not very many green berries. Last thing, let's officially test it. I could have skipped all those other steps just by testing it, but I kind of wanted to do all that first, so let's test it. (13.1). So 13.1, that means that it is a little bit wet still, but with our air in our bins, we'll be able to put it on there. So, I say we're good to harvest. Another thing I was curious about is, this got rained on, like 2.5 inches of rain. And rain washes the color out of wheat, which is not as valuable. You lose value in your crop if it gets rained on a lot. There's another thing called falling numbers. It's the factor on how well this stuff will raise when it's baked into bread. That number is also affected by getting rained on a lot. Overall, I would say the color looks pretty good, but the falling numbers test we really can't do unless it gets sent off to a lab, and I don't have time to do that. So we might just switch grain bins, put all this rained crop now in one of those other large West Steel bins, because we've got 3 of them and we haven't even filled one yet. So we'll put them in the other. All right, let's get combining. I'll go call a truck in, we'll get some equipment moved out here, and I think it's time to harvest. So, we are finally in our good spring wheat. When I say good, I mean it's yielding 20 to 30 bushels an acre, which is amazing considering the conditions of the year. The reason why this is yielding 20 to 30 bushels an acre compared to the 12 to 14 bushels an acre that the rest of our spring wheat's been running is because this was fallow ground. In other words, we chem followed this last year. So we did not grow a crop on this land last year. We sprayed it out, kept everything deader than dead so that the ground could absorb all the moisture from last year, store it in the ground, which there wasn't much moisture from last year, but there was some because it's showing. And then this year's crop we put on it, which then let us get almost double the bushels per acre, if not double. And that's why we chem followed. But here's the thing, we're like, well, why didn't you do that across the whole farm? Okay, well, 10,000 acres, cut it in half. That means 5,000 acres you farm, 5,000 acres you pay money to not farm, because you're paying to kill the weeds, you're paying taxes on it, and you're not getting anything back. It's 100% negative. It's taking money away. But you're giving next year's crop a chance to be more successful, which is going to give you money back. Make sense? It's a tough scenario to be in, because chem follow makes a lot of weeds. It's tough to kill weeds these days. They're getting resistant to chemicals. They don't die. But crop on crop on crop is better for the soil. It's better to have organisms growing in the soil. They like root structures being there every year after year. They like the different rotations, peas and wheat, lentils and barleys and canolas. They like all that. It makes your ground, your organic matter go up. It's healthy, it's good. I want that. But when you don't get rain, chem follow is the better option, because I'm getting 25 bushels an acre and we get to farm half the land. So if you get rain, chem follow, no, not worth it. You might as well just farm it all. All right, like I'm here. Let's go get some trucks. Like a dummy, I didn't top the fuel off in the combine before I brought it out to the field. I thought that I did that, but I guess that was the other time we were in the yard. Oh well. What is a bowling ball doing in here? All right. Truck, big brute, and B-spine. Scott's coming in Clifford. Leg arms, for those that don't know. And my dad had to go to get some parts. He'll be back here shortly, and then he'll probably take over Clifford, and then one of us will take over trucking. And then we'll get this crop in, get it done. We'll wrap up 2021. which is been quite the year. Maybe next week sometime, maybe a week after, we'll find out. But they are talking some rain coming again, so we'll see how that affects our harvesting schedule. Ran a big wad of kosher through it, and it jammed her up good. So, oh, D-slug. That'll work. And we're going again. And I didn't even have to get out of the cab. Did it all right here. About 3 minutes, unplug it. I remember the old days, the 2588s, 2188s, 1680s. Climbing up there with the bar, turning the big pulleys, rotor, separator, belts, mess. Yeah, no thanks. I don't want to go back to belts.
Alrighty, good deal. My dad went down to Great Falls, which is an hour south of us, and he grabbed a 10-footer of this 3.5-inch square tubing, 1/4 inch. And just looking at it, I don't need to go the full length of where it's broken, but just a big chunk of it. So I'd say let's do 3 feet. I think it's gonna be plenty. So take the plasma cutter, cut off 3 feet, and then let's go splice it together and fix this coil pecker because it needs to be fixed. Obviously, duh. Now here's the thing, with that 3-foot piece I put in there, you got strength from here all the way over to here, okay? If it's gonna break again, it ain't that section. So I'll weld that up, and then what I'm gonna do is take the plasma cutter, and I'm gonna take a little slice, just a tiny bit right here, and right here, and I'm gonna weld a little bit in that spot. So what it does is it sandwiches that square tubing to this one and here instead of just on that joint. And then I'll do it on the sides and then make sure it doesn't move because I don't want that tubing to kind of flex around inside. There's a tiny, tiny bit of slop in it. But it'll just help. Every little bit of hot gluing makes a huge difference on steel. So anyways, let's go bust out the welder and weld that up. I think it'll hold. I don't see how it could rip through that 1/4 inch piece of steel that's inside, and with that weld on there, I think it'll be pretty strong. But I am having questions or thoughts. Maybe I need to plate it with a piece of steel on top, just to be on the safe side. And I think I want to be lazy, but I probably better not. I'll see what I have for steel, and maybe I'll put a little band on there and weld it up. But we'll see. Maybe, yeah, I'll do it. I don't see how that can break again at that point. If it's gonna break, it's gonna break somewhere else. That there has a 1/4 inch steel inside, and then the square tubing, and then those 2 little bands right there just to kind of help it from flexing. It ain't going anywhere. Is that perfect? Oh yeah, it's perfect to my standards because this thing is fairly beat up, and you know what? If it stays together, I am happy. So now I just gotta put that pin, secure that, and we don't have the hydraulic cylinder, so we cannot wing this up. It is at the shop in Great Falls. They're taking care of it, and so yeah, I'm pretty much ready to pull this thing out of here. That's a good feeling. And then we'll go through it a little bit more when we get that cylinder back. We'll make sure that everything is good to go. And then we got to go through the plow, and we should be good to go. Okay, I'm done welding for right now.
Now that I'm in some heavier crop, when I say heavier, I mean yielding more material, more mass, more grain. I want to do a little walk behind, see here what actually is happening in the back of the combine, because, well, my yield monitor is saying a lot more, but my grain loss is saying more too. Not excessive, but what your little graphs say doesn't really mean exactly what's going on back here, because there could be more going out the back than you realize. So let's poke around the back where I just harvested and see what's sitting on the ground. If I had a pan, I'd throw it underneath it, but I don't have one at the moment right now. So yeah, and I'm by myself. I already see some kernels right here. Let's start digging. Definitely some right here. A lot scattered right there. A lot right there. Quite a bit right there. I'm losing a lot. Huh. Yeah. There's more than I like here. A lot more. That's really bad.
We are back in the saddle again. Or is that right, Kobe? Kobe, is that right? Huh? Yes. After that inch and a half of rain that we had, we're finally getting dry enough to harvest. And so we're harvesting the last of our good wheat. We've got about, I don't know, 400 acres that is not hailed left, and it's doing real well down here. It looks like it got a little more rain this year. We're looking at somewhere around anywhere from low of 18 up to over almost 30. I think we're going to be averaging on this here around 22, maybe something like that. Which is nice to finally cut some good wheat, but it's short-lived. And then after we get done with this, then we're going to be cutting on hailed wheat that is to the point of almost zeroed out. So it won't be as pretty and as fun, but you know, it's always nice being in the combine. It's just this season seems to be real short compared to other seasons. So I haven't grown tired of it because it seemed like there's been breaks. So anyway, we'll keep harvesting, won't we, Kobe? Intently looking for other things than rocks. You need to be a rock hound.
See, he's got some grain stuck in it, but that's to be given because some grain's gonna go out the back and they've been sitting there for a bit. But yeah, we're pretty sure. We cleaned it off. We're gonna throw a large wire module right here in number 5 and 6, and we'll leave the band in the back and see how that runs in the field. If it saves us some bushels, it's worth doing. There we go. Put a large wire in. Okay, bolt them are in. Put the covers back on. I'm gonna blow the air cleaner out while I'm at it because I didn't do that yet. And Dad's fuel filter just decided it wanted to plug, so he's got to go get some filters. So we're almost field ready. Almost field ready. All right, just got going. And rotor loss, still climbing up there. I don't like that. Not excessive, but it's up there. I'll get out and take a look here in a second on the ground and see what it looks like. One thing that doesn't help grain loss is weeds. See this kochia that's growing through the crop here? Yeah, as that goes through the combine, it kind of grabs the kernels and pulls it out the back with it. So it's hard to separate. If it was just crop like that, it'd separate a lot easier because that just turns to mush. But that stuff being all green and viney and very fibrous, it doesn't really break down like the straw does. It goes in wads and grain goes out the back with it. Kind of hard to get it all, but you know what? This isn't automated. This combine is manually set by me. If it was an automated combine, an AFS Connect 8250 or so, 9250, 7250, I could just hit go and it would do it for me. take a peek, see what's on the ground. Hopefully it looks a little better than what it was. So, on the very edge, not a lot, understandable. Got a couple, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. As we get closer to the center, it should get more dense. Obviously, this is where a lot of the straw is going. I need to adjust my spreader a little bit. Not as bad as it was, I'll tell you that right now. There's a lot less on the ground here. I mean, before they were just spread out all across this. Now let's walk over to where I had those modules blocked off. Right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it looks a lot worse over here. Oh yeah, look at all that kernels right there. 4 kernels right in a row right there, 5, oh yeah. So yeah, we had it too restricted, way too restricted for this heavier crop. 10, 12, 15 bushel wheat, it was just perfect. Hardly anything going out the back. 20, 25, 30, gotta clean it up a little bit. I don't wanna lose money on the ground. This is what's fun. 7 miles an hour, 20 bushels an acre, and I'm not leaving stuff behind. I love it, I love it. Small stuff, hard to harvest. If it's short, you just can't hardly get in the header. Tall stuff like this, lays in the header nice, nice clean fields.
Oh, it is beautiful. Lovely, 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 lovely. That's because I put a lot of paint on it. One of the reasons why I put paint on it, I really don't care too much about the rusting, but if you put a lot of paint on it and it starts to crack, you're gonna start seeing rust marks where the cracks are. So if I didn't get that fixed correctly, you'll see it eventually. But saying that, I'm done with this for the time being until we get that cylinder. I'm just gonna take this, haul it over, wing it out, and unhook the truck because, well, it's harvest season because they're out cutting and I need to be sitting in a truck waiting on them. It's nice that this truck has hydraulics on it because, well, it just comes in handy, that's all. Okay, let's go bolt this thing over where I'm gonna park it for the time being and call it good.
That it's gotten dark. Lights are on. Beast Buy's got those Thomas LED lights on it. That's really nice. Clifford's a little darker. Factory lights on him. But we got about another 40 minutes or so, and I think we're gonna call it a night. There we go, guys. Another good day done. Look at that horizon. Isn't that cool? Smoke makes it look pretty red and orange. Not like that over here, but over here. All right, pick this up tomorrow.